Hi, this is Lou Adler. In this week's video, I want to talk about a very important topic. The idea is that you need to close at the beginning of any conversation with a candidate if you really want to increase candidate quality. From what I've seen, too many good recruiters close too late and lose good candidates because they talk about tactical issues rather than strategic issues. Let me show you exactly what I mean so you can get a sense of how important this point is. I'm going to contend that most candidates, when you initially contact them, especially passive candidates and always candidates that don't have an economic need to take your job, you're calling them up, they got multiple offers, actually might be out looking, or they might not be looking. So they quickly have to decide, should I engage or talk with this recruiter at all? So they ask a bunch of what I'll call tactical questions. These questions are, how much is it? What's the fee? How much is the money? What's the title? Where is it? Who's the company? Tell me a little bit about the job. Very, very short term. And many recruiters just succumb and start telling about it. And candidates say, I'm not interested. Well, you can't do that. You've got to deflect the question. You got to get candidates to talk about the strategic issues. And one way that I do it is I just said, you just made a major decision with a long-term decision using short-term information. On the chance that this job is great, in 2 to 3 weeks now we make you an offer, the criteria you'll use to accept that offer is totally different than those questions you just asked me. You'll ask about the actual job. You'll want to understand the challenges and the impact you can make. You'll obviously want to know the career growth. What I'll call underneath that career growth is the rate of compensation increase, not necessarily the absolute level. You want to, obviously, the critical aspect of the decision is who is the hiring manager, who you'll be working with. And is the company culture something you could fit in and work well with? Those are the questions you'd ask. However, most candidates don't ask those questions up front. They ask tactical questions that are very short-term oriented. What I see is recruiters need to get candidates off this tactical stuff on the left and think strategically. And if you can do that at the beginning, as soon as you talk to these candidates, you can engage many more candidates. Then they think long-term rather than short-term. What I discovered very long ago when I started as a recruiter is I never had enough candidates and never had enough money in the budget. So what was I going to do? I wasn't going to create more top candidates, and I rarely could create more money. So I said, I just got to live with that situation, which meant that everybody I talked with, I had to have them discuss this position from a career standpoint. I had to take money off the table up front and said, instead of money, we're going to give you career growth, but the compensation increase would be far greater a year or two from now. Under that basis, would you at least engage in a conversation? That changes everything. You move from the left tactical to the long-term strategic. And I think recruiters succumb to the bait. In my mind, don't lose your best candidates by falling into this tactical trap. Don't succumb to the questions. Instead, force prospects to use strategic information to decide to just engage with you in a 10 to 15-minute conversation. On the chance that this really makes a great career move, wouldn't it make sense to talk 5 or 10 minutes? In Recruiter Bootcamp, we give you 10 techniques on how to pull this off. The moment you engage with candidates, the middle, and at the end. We offer Recruiter Bootcamp both in public versions and custom versions. We offer these on-site and we offer them online as well. So we've trained companies around the world, train hiring managers, and we train recruiters. If you'd like more information, check us out at adlerconcepts.com. Send an email if you'd like specific information, info@adlerconcepts.com. If you'd like to audit Module 1 of our online bootcamp, we offer that the first Friday of every month. Just send us an email, say you'd like to audit Recruiter Bootcamp, and we'll give you the login information. You'll discover some great techniques to increase quality of hire just by closing at the beginning rather than trying to close at the end.